So I've been wanting to make this video for like a couple of months, but I just haven't gotten around to it. I drive a 4Runner, which has excellent brakes, but my father drives a Jeep Wrangler 2015, a JK, and its brakes are awful. There's just no comparison between the two. The pedal is spongy, the brakes themselves are completely undersized, even for, I think they're 30-inch that come stock. And see, he still has the stock size wheels and tires. So I decided that what I was going to do is to upgrade the brakes on his JK. My personal philosophy is larger diameter is better. Now, I know you can buy softer pad material and get better braking, but I decided, go big or go home, right? So the reason I'm making this video is I did it a little backwards, and I didn't know I was doing it backwards until we'd gotten into it. So number one, most cars brake, trucks brake with their front brakes most. But whatever, because of the proportioning valve, it has more hydraulic force that goes to the front than the rear. For whatever reason, Jeep decided to do it backwards. If you have a fairly late model Wrangler, in all likelihood, you go through one front pair of brake pads for every 2 pair of rear brake pads you go through. Now, of course, everyone's braking is going to be a little bit different, but his experience is 2 sets of rear pads for every 1 pad. Well, what does that mean? That means the proportioning valve is applying more pressure to the rear brakes, which is so ironic. So, what's the point? The point is that I decided, well, I'll buy the big front brake kit. I'm so sorry, I didn't look up the manufacturer. Teraflex makes a front brake set for about $900, and basically it's a 2008 Dodge half-ton pickup front brake. Now I think Teraflex is actually making their own, but the company that I bought from is just a bolt-on half-ton Dodge pickup front brake set. So you get you go from like 11 to, I think it's 13. It's like 12 and a half or 13-inch front brakes, which I like. It has a standard Dodge front brake caliper bracket that you bolt on to the solid front axle, and then it has a 2-piston front caliper. And I thought, good, this is going to be perfect. So the first thing I noticed when I put that on was the pedal felt like it was going almost to the floor. And yes, I bled it. Yes, I did everything right. That with the engine off, the pedal feels super hard. Doesn't move at all. But once the brake booster is engaged, man, the thing just feels like you're stepping in cake. So, however, I did notice that the braking itself was better, but the pedal feel was just awful. So the JK has a 1-inch front master cylinder, 1-inch diameter master cylinder. You can buy the big master cylinder, which is 1 1/16 diameter. Well, that's not very big. So that's the next thing I did, is I went ahead and I replaced the front master cylinder. It did feel better, but I never really liked the pedal feel, on the Jeep to begin with. So now what did I gain? Well, you have a little better pedal, but the truth is I really didn't feel like I had a lot more. I did notice there was more braking, but not a lot for the amount of money that we spend. So I went ahead, and from Teraflex, the rear kit is just the big disc with a caliper relocation kit. So it was quite a bit cheaper. So I went ahead and I put that on too. The brakes feel much better as far as braking effect. that when you really stomp on the brake, well, the Jeep really stops. I mean, you can get the ABS to kick in pretty fast. But the pedal feel is just crap. So, would I do it again? If I had my own Jeep, would I do that again? Probably. However, if I was going to suggest something to somebody else, what I would suggest is maybe don't change the front brakes like I did to the 2-piston Dodge caliper. However, they do make a larger diameter disc kit that uses the OEM front caliper because most of the stopping is coming from the rear, which is so ironic. So would I suggest the Teraflex rear kit? Oh yeah, absolutely. But if I was going to do it again, or if I was doing this on a friend's Jeep, I think I would suggest the kit where you get the large diameter front disc, but then use a brake relocation bracket in order to use the stock front caliper. I think what would happen is I think you'd get better feel out of it. Or you could do the other way around. You could use the larger disc with just the relocation bracket, use the stock Jeep front caliper, and then go ahead and replace the front master cylinder to the inch in a 16th. I think the brake feel would be much better with the larger master cylinder. So I'm sorry that this isn't a installation video. I was in a hurry and it wasn't all at one time. So would I do it, the same way that I did on my Jeep, if I had one? Probably. I really like the dual piston front caliper, even though the pedal feel is just nasty. But if I was going to suggest, I would suggest do the Teraflex rear and then do just the larger brake disc with the relocation bracket for the stock Jeep caliper. So that's my take on big brakes on a JK.